Heating. Hello everyone and welcome to my Queer channel. I'm your host QueerChan and today we are finally continuing the set of ChibiPokeHouse reviews. This is actually going to be the last review of the larger deluxe sets. There are two more sets in the ChibiPokeHouse line, however unfortunately I don't actually have those sets. One is the AG Advanced Generation remake of the Pokemon Center set, and the other is a completely original set based on the Camping Pikachu mini-movie. I believe it's the fifth one, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never actually seen it. If anyone watching actually happens to have either of those sets and is willing to sell them, please get in contact with me, I've been looking for those for years. Beyond that though, there actually will be one more review from the ChibiPokeHouse line following this, this review. It will be from the smaller compact playsets. Those who watched my Type A review may have some idea of what this review will be. It is related to the Type A. I'm actually rather looking forward to doing this this upcoming review, but obviously that will be for a later date. For now though, before I actually begin, I just want to say a very quick thank you very much indeed for your patience the last week to 10 days. Those of you who watched my recent update video know that I've been having some very serious computer issues the last week. In that I actually lost my old laptop. I didn't lose any data, very fortunately, I just lost the hardware, and I had to upgrade. So I've spent, you know, the last 4 or 5 days transferring all my data over and sort of coming to terms and getting used to this new laptop, Windows 10. I was still using Windows 7, believe it or not. I do miss it though, I don't like 10 quite as much. But no, I'm you know, finally used to the new laptop. I know how everything works now. I like it for the most part. It's a good laptop. I think it will see me through many years. I'm determined to make it that way. I'm not too keen on the touchpad, but you know, it's minor and I use a tablet anyway. So yes, as you can see, I've finally gotten, you know, things straightened out a bit, and we've got some good new videos coming up. If you haven't watched the update video, go have a quick look at that. It's very short, I promise you. And going on that, you know, let me know the kinds of things, now that we've actually got new, you know, hardware, let me know the kinds of things you'd actually like to see this channel you know, start posting. One thing that was mentioned was the potential for Twitch streaming and, you know, game playthroughs and whatnot. I am looking into the copyright issues associated with different games and gaming companies. So once I've got that sorted out, and hopefully once I've got a capture card and whatnot for my various consoles, I can actually start looking into doing some games for this channel, which I think would be fantastic. I'm a huge gamer, even beyond Pokemon and Star Wars, and I would really love to play through some games for you guys. I absolutely love watching game playthroughs myself, and I'd love to do it for you guys. I think it'd be so much fun. That's obviously all in the future. For now though, let's take a look at the very last of the deluxe playsets in my collection. And what we're looking at today is, of course, the Advanced Generation AG remake of the Tree playset of the original Type D. Now, there's a bit of a story behind this one. The 4 years between my losing the original Type D when we moved from Israel and acquiring a new one, I think it was actually 5 years come to think of it, and acquiring a new one, I searched absolutely everywhere to try and find a replacement. Now obviously, as I've said many times, these had extremely limited Western releases, and I think this one wasn't even released in the West. I believe these the Advanced Generation sets were Japan only, so this one is actually even rarer. But I typed in all these search terms that, you know, Pokemon House, Pokemon Playset, Pokemon Deluxe Playset, Pokemon Type D, Pokemon Tree, all these different things to try and, you know, find something, and nothing seemed to come up until about 2.5 years into that. I think I was looking on Google Images and I came across an image of this set, and I couldn't quite believe it because it was the exact model of the old set, save for a couple of cosmetic differences, which we'll go through in a minute, and yet, you know, that it was different. It came with different figures, and it had, again, you know, different moulding, different cosmetic differences and whatnot. So I went back and forth with myself for the longest time on whether or not to try and order it, and either, you know, keep it as is or try to repaint it myself based upon the original set. After a while, I finally did actually go ahead and buy it, and I had absolutely the worst online shopping experience I've ever had in my life. Bottom line was, the company that was selling it, they didn't actually have it in stock, and they weren't planning on getting it back in stock, and yet it was still online. Not only that, but it took them about 8 months to refund my money, and when it was finally refunded, it actually went into the wrong PayPal account, so it was an absolute mess. This obviously isn't the set from that order. I managed to find this rather miraculously about 2.5 years after that, from Yahoo Japan, and obviously this is actually a complete set. I cannot remember if it came with a box or not. It might have done, but it came with all the figures, came complete, in reasonable condition, which we'll go through in a minute, and so here we have it. So before I actually go through the set itself, I just want to put it next to the original Type D, so you can actually get a side-by-side comparison of the differences between the two. As you can see, it is more or less the exact same model in both cases. Different paintwork, obviously much darker grass than over here. You've got Milotic on this side, whereas on this one you've got Gyarados. The water spout in the original has become a wooden platform in the remake. There's different decals on it, as you can see. You've got some nice Gen 3 Pokemon. Table's not big enough, beg your pardon. And then obviously you've got the differences in the upper part of the tree. I will go more into detail in that in a moment. If you want a closer look at the details from the original set, I highly suggest you go and watch the review for that. I will put a link somewhere in the video. And of course I will get to this one in a moment. Obviously this is based on the tree from the second Pikachu mini movie, came with Pokemon the Movie 2000, whereas this one is actually based on the Hoenn region and the secret bases that they had going on, which for me is absolutely brilliant because Hoenn is hands down my favourite region, and I absolutely adored the whole secret base idea that was going on. Funnily enough, I think this is actually this may even be based on Route 119 with the Weather Institute, and it had all these different trees that you could make secret bases out of, which again is brilliant because that was one of my, hands down, my favourite parts of the game. Absolutely wonderful. Despite the fact that it is based on Hoenn and all that, I actually do prefer the original set. I think it is much more vibrant, much more colourful. I think it's just a prettier and cuter set altogether. And again, if you haven't seen my review for that, go and have a look. As I have done a review for an in-depth review for the for this type of set, this one won't be quite as in-depth because all the features are exactly the same. It is literally just down to cosmetic differences for this set. One thing I forgot to mention as well is, of course, in the original there is an execute nest. Bring this back up. There is an execute nest, whereas here it is just a grassy platform. Before we go into the play features of the set, I will just go through the figures that you get with it. Very cute figures. You've got, first of all, your standard Pikachu with a new design, actually. It's the slimmer Pikachu, so you can tell it's a much newer set. Interestingly, these figures actually have peg holes in them as well, which I don't think I've seen in any other set, unless, of course, the Pokemon is intended for a very specific feature, as in the Type E with Hitmontop, for example. And you'll notice that the set has a bunch of pegs on it, so Of course, you can sit your Pokemon, have them do whatever. First look at Gen 4, which was my least favourite, Munchlax. Then you've got Marshtomp, I believe. Can't remember if it's Marshtomp or Swampert. I believe it's Marshtomp. No pegs on that one. It's a slimmer figure. One of my other half's favourites, Spheal, with a peg hole. Meowth, very reminiscent of the Meowth from the Type E set. Again, no peg hole. And then finally, my absolute favourite from this set, a very cute Mew with a peg hole. I love little paws on her feet. Oh, absolutely wild about Mew when I first got into Pokemon. And then, of course, as I mentioned several times that this is based on the Hoenn secret bases, you actually get some secret base decorations with this. One is the Skitty television. And, of course, I can't remember what it's called, the Pokemon desk, Pokeball desk, something to that effect, and the matching chair, which, funnily enough, I actually did put in my secret base in-game. So yes, the decorations are actually intended for the top part of the tree, which again I will show in just a minute. The figures quite a bit more versatile than the ones that came with the original set, as I've said, because they have peg holes, so they're actually somewhat more posable and less less easy to lose. One thing I've actually just now noticed as well, I forgot to mention, is that compared to the original set, they've taken out the indentation for the bridge, so you can't actually connect this set to any of the others. It's a set completely on its own. Not quite sure why they removed this feature. It seems a bit more like it took more trouble to remove it than to put it in, but again, that's what they've done. Before we go through the features, we'll just do a quick go around of the set. As you can see, other than colours, it is basically the exact same as the original set. Different colour stones, they've got a much more sort of greeny, yellowy hue to them, whereas the originals were just plain grey. Interesting thing here is on the original, this is supposed to be water, and they've just left it plain green. Nice new decal. Regirock. Regirock, where was he found? He was, oh, the desert. It was Registeel, that was Route 120, wasn't it? And I was going to say, if it was Regirock on that route, then perhaps this is actually a Route 120 sort of secret base than Route 119. I don't know, I'm rambling. The features on the set, basically the same as those on the original, with some minor cosmetic differences, as I've mentioned. Of course, you've got Milotic, which raises a swarm of Beautifly with the same action feature as the original set. We'll just put Spheal up there. As you can see, when it raises, a peg comes up. When you put Spheal there, as you did with Togepi on the original set, raise Milotic, and he falls down into the nest. Nice little feature. And there's two pegs in the nest, so you can attach, not Spheal, you can attach two different Pokemon there, obviously, and have them sit around. Next feature, of course, is the secret hole. It doesn't work quite as well as the original set, unfortunately. Very funnily enough, despite the fact that this is actually a more recent set, it doesn't work as well as the original. I don't know if it's just my model or if it was something in general with this line of sets, but as you'll see over here as well, the bouncing leaf, it doesn't work if you press on the lever. I've actually gone into this playset, I've unscrewed the bottom of the playset and gone into it and tried to either clean it out or reattach it. Oh, there we go. I don't know what's wrong with it. It only really works if you press on the leaf, you know, yourself. Then, of course, got secret hiding hole, the leaf to cover it. The leaf is screwed on quite a bit more tightly than the one on the original set. Oops, stay closed. You, of course, got the river rapids with different decorations than the original set. If you recall, on the original set there were just some leaves and apples, but now you've actually got Pokemon on this one. Let's see, you've got Squirtle, Phoebus, who's that? Zurill, Corphish, and is that Barboach? It's hard to tell through the camera. Otherwise, completely the same feature. Now, we'll just bring the platform down. Very much like on the original set, you raise the platform in the middle of the tree by raising the lever here. And we'll just put Mew in there. And again, exactly the same as before. The only downside on this set, again, for some reason, the platform seems to frequently snap off the lever on mine. It's a very simple fix, but again, I don't know why this set doesn't work quite as well as the original, given the fact that it's quite a bit younger, but there you have it. It doesn't quite go up. Oh, there we go. All the way as well. Now I'll try and bend this forward a bit. Actually, I might have to move the camera. Bear with me. Whoops, didn't go well. There we go. Nice view of my table. And you've got a nice view of the top base area. One thing I did forget to mention is that if you bought the set new, you actually got a sheet of stickers with you. And the stickers basically were posters and mats like those from the original game. Unfortunately, as I said, my set was not new, so I did not get the chance to apply the stickers myself. Fortunately, on my set, they're all present and they're somewhat adequately applied. They're not terribly straight, but they are all there, which is most important to me. So as you can see, you've got the jump mat, sparkle mat, spin mat, you've got a note mat down here, don't know why they put it there, and you've got posters. You've got the Mudkip poster, the Pika poster I think it was called, Trico poster, and the Torchic poster. You're just down to one little stump, whereas on the original, of course, you had 4. And then, of course, as the upper area is based on the Hoenn secret bases, you can, of course, whoops, best if I do it up here, you can, of course, use the included decorations. So, let's see if I bring that forward without knocking anything over. There you go. Very adequate secret base there. I mean, you've even got plants in the back as well that are based on the plants that you see in game. I cannot remember for the life of me what they're called, and I think they actually changed some of the names in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Oh, I think there was a big plant, a red plant, things like that. And they've done, I think, I'll try and get up close again, I think they've done a very nice job of recreating those plants that you just see very, very briefly in game. Whoops. In sticker form. You've got the very nice colourful plant, you've got the big plant that has the big red flower on it, you've got the cute little red pink flowers there. I think they've done a very nice job of recreating the Hoenn secret bases. And then of course on the outside you've got your platforms again for your Pokemon. Just put Mew up there. But yes, as I've said, it's just move closer. It is more or less exactly the original tree set. Very, very minor cosmetic differences, and in my opinion, it's not quite as vibrant or as visually attractive as the original set. I still say that, you know, if you're buying for a child and you have to get them only one set, get them the original tree set, or as I mentioned before, get them the mansion hide and seek set, simply because that set is huge, comes with so many figures, and is actually portable. Having said that though, I mean, if you cannot find the original tree set, I would say that this would make a more than adequate, you know, substitute for a child if you're buying for them. Collection-wise, I wouldn't say this is an absolutely essential piece. I'm very glad to have it in my collection. 1, because I love Hoenn, it's my favourite region. 2, because I love the secret base idea. And 3, of course, because it is a recreation of my favourite ChibiPokeHouse from the entire line. Having said that, though, I don't think it's essential for, you know, unless you're a completionist, I don't think it's essential for a ChibiPokeHouse collection. It is also very difficult to find, and even harder to find complete. Before I came across this one, I actually very nearly bought an incomplete set, and I'm very glad I didn't in the end. I think it's sold before I could put a bid in on it, and I'm very glad, again, because this one came up less than a month later, and I managed to get it. I would say completion would be more or less necessary, unless you're willing to just, or happy to just use other minifigures with it. As I said, very difficult to find. You are much more likely to find the original Tree playset, and I think personally it's for the better. I cannot remember how much I paid for this. I think I actually got a fairly good deal on it. I think it was less than 2,000 yen, which is less than $20, I believe. Obviously, the shipping killed me a bit coming from Japan, but that's the price you pay for, you know, a deputy service and getting the sets that you want. So, yes, there's not terribly much more to say about this that hasn't already been said. If you want a more in-depth look at this style of set, again, I wholeheartedly recommend watching my Type D review. It is the first review I did for the Deluxe playsets, and very appropriately, we have finished our reviews of the Deluxe playsets with the remake of it. As I've said before, there are 2 more sets which I am missing, and I am still looking for. If I ever manage to find them, I will of course be adding to this set of reviews. Other than that, though, unless I get a number of requests wanting me to go through the compact playsets, this will likely be the second to last review of the ChibiPokeHouse line. So following my next review, we're going to get a whole new subject, so to speak. I'm not sure at this point if I will return to going through my Neimoidian collection, or if I'll do some more Pokemon, or some other Star Wars, or you know, start something new altogether. I'm always loving to hear your feedback and what you'd like to hear and to watch. So please, by all means, let me know, again, the kinds of things that you would like to see. I know that there are some Pokemon collectors out there who are actually very interested in these sets, and, you know, why wouldn't you be, in my opinion? I think they're brilliant little sets, and you don't really see anything like them, you know, anymore. You don't see anything really on this scale that does as much as it does do, and no, I think it's just such a lovely relic from, you know, early Pokemon years, and I would love to see something like this return, but it's highly unlikely that we ever will. So if any of you collectors have been watching this, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you a bit of a better insight to the ChibiPokeHouse line, and hopefully a bit of encouragement and information on where you can actually buy some for yourself. I'm always happy to answer questions about anything in the ChibiPokeHouse line. For those of you who have been to the website, I do apologise, it's a bit incomplete. Now that I've actually got a new laptop, I can actually work on completing that now, which will be brilliant. But yes, if at any point you would actually like me to go more in depth into any of the sets again, please, by all means, let me know. For now, though, I hope this has been an okay series for you. As I've said, I've still got the compact line of sets. I'm not sure I will do those at this point, unless, as I've said, I get a number of requests for people who would actually like to see that. I've gotten the feeling that people have generally actually been more interested in the Star Wars reviews than the Pokemon reviews, and that's absolutely fair enough. This was, you know, billed as a Star Wars channel, and of course I do want to keep with that. So, as I've said, after this upcoming final review, we will probably you know, see some more Star Wars again, and certainly some more Star Wars discussion again. Hopefully, that I can get some of you guys engaged and hear your opinions on, you know, just general ideas about Star Wars and The Force Awakens and everything. Anyway, you'll see when it's online. For now, though, I just want to leave you with a very quick question, slightly unrelated to the sets. As you know, this in the past week we've had the new reveal of the Pokemon Sun and Moon games. And I'm absolutely over the moon about it. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I love the idea of a region being based on Hawaii or, you know, South Pacific nations. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited to see what happens. It reminds me so much of Hoenn in terms of layout and in terms of the environment. I'm absolutely in love with the new starters. So I want to know from you, which of the starters do you like best? Which one will you be going with, and which version will you be playing? For me, it's Rowlet, hands down. I know I'm going with a majority here, which is somewhat unusual for me. But yeah, I love Rowlet. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I usually do get both versions, so I can have, you know, 2 playthroughs of the game. But my main version will certainly be Moon version. So let me know what you're going to do. For now, though, thank you very much indeed for watching. I've been Quair-chan, you've been amazing, and may the Force and Neimoidians and Pokemon be with you.